What's up, horror fans? Pete here from the Lassercast, where my good friend Dr. Zayas God, Danny Torkel, and I review horror movies and streaming shows. We have been covering the show Alien Earth, which is on FX. It's also streaming on Hulu. And we've brought in my other very good friend over there, Brian, from my other channel, Comic Books Transformed. Gentlemen, happy Saturday morning. Super excited to talk to you today about this show.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me again, by the way. I really love the show and love talking about it. I just finished it about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, good. Okay.
I got home. I got home from the Met game, and I watched this on my phone next to my sleeping wife with my AirPods in. Between I put it on at around 11:30, and I was like, "Oh, great! I'll be able to go to sleep by 12:30." And then I'm looking, and I'm like, "This is an hour and a half episode. Oh shit!" So I struggled through it, and I fell asleep almost as soon as the episode ended at around 1 o'clock.
I had a similar experience about 11:40 last night. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't watch the episode yet. I put it on. About 40 minutes later, I had completed maybe 10 minutes of the episode. This morning.
Oh man, well, I'm actually gonna need y'all's help because when I first watched it, it was like after I'd done both of my jobs in a row, and I was like half awake, half asleep, and I might have had a little bit of influence going on too, and so I was kind of like, "What is going on? Like, is she talking like an alien?" Like, and I remember really being tripped out by the scene where what's the hybrid boys? His name's Slightly that he's talking to Morrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was like, oh, I really like this. But like as far as fine details, I might need a little help from you guys.
Oh,
so
man. There was a whole bunch of those fine detail scenes that I really liked this episode, but sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah. Well, do tell, man. Tell us like what someone stood out, because to me, I feel like their knee-jerk reaction might be like, hey, this was a filler episode. We're kind of getting somewhere. I don't feel that way. I feel like regardless of any kind of deaths, violence, world building, just seeing like some of these characters interact and how they film certain things makes this show exciting to watch. Go ahead, Brian. What stood out for you?
The entire episode of watching this, I'm thinking like, what is the like average surface level alien fan thinking about this show and this episode and the previous episode? Like, is this too much? Because like there's no alien jumping around killing anybody or anything like that. Nothing like that.
Right.
Maybe in the next couple episodes we'll see that again, but this to me is more like that world building element of Prometheus that I loved, and it's funny because it's erasing Prometheus, but I love all the storylines they're laying here, all the different types of horror and just feelings of dread that you can get from these different little mini arcs. There's the general idea of of the aliens and that normal kind of alien life, and they'll eat you and pop out your chest.
Right.
The whole idea of these synthetic beings here, if they're human or not, what happens to them? What kind of experiences can they have? Like the one girl's going crazy, Nibs is going crazy, thinks she's pregnant, things like that. The idea that corporations run the planet, absolutely terrifying. Then there's just like the whole idea with I'm missing the name, Wendy and her brother, and how they're kind of being played against each other in a way to be kept together, and it's just so many things I really love.
Oh yes, yeah, I enjoyed all that. Particularly, I loved when they talk about the corporations, and I like that the brother, when he's given the history of the world to these synth kids, he says, we had governments before that, but that didn't work. And it's weird because like you kind of assume that the people in the alien universe think that it's miserable that the corporations run everything, but it almost seemed like he was in, with it. He was like, okay, yeah, that they're better than governments.
Yeah, they made it better, but I mean, to me, clearly it isn't in a way, because you have these people running around doing things like this fucking island,
Right.
Crazy shit that's probably breaking all kinds of moral and technical laws.
Right. Danny, what'd you think overall?
I agree with Brian. I liked a lot of this episode. It's funny. I wanted to bring this up. The first thing because whenever I hear the final song of the episode, I always Google immediately what the song is. I was like, oh, that's Jane's Addiction, but let me like Google. And when I Googled like Alien Earth episode 4, the first thing that I saw was I didn't, and I'll be completely transparent. I didn't read the article because it's Forbes. So I'm not going to go to Forbes for a review of a sci-fi horror TV show. But like
Okay.
the headline of like the Forbes article was like basically called this like a dwindling, dreary, boring episode. And I kind of felt like, okay, it's Forbes magazine, so what the hell do they know about Alien? They're known for their like bad faith horror coverage.
Right.
But then like I did kind of think like this could be an episode that is like a watershed for some of the fans who really like that first 2 episodes where the alien is running around killing people and it's like,
Right.
holy shit, this show is going to be awesome. And then like
Right.
this is now 2 episodes in a row. This one a prolonged almost 90 minutes on television, where there's a lot of world building. And I feel that this could be an episode where a lot of people who are kind of on the fence of this show are like, all right, like, are we going to see the fucking alien again? Like, what is this? And like, maybe that last few minutes will like get them to come back for next week. But
Right.
but like, this has been a world that just the three of us on this channel have been like deep diving for the last 5 years, 6 years now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, give me all that world building stuff. I love that stuff. Like even like the little touches of this show establishes that the eggs open intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like you can now like, I don't know about you guys, but like I started to think about like John Hurt in 1979, like the fact that like the egg sensed a human there and was like, oh, let me pop open so he'll stick his face in.
Mhm.
And Morrow telling Slightly or Arush, like bring a human to the egg. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, and like we've seen that so far where like the egg went to open up but then didn't. I mean, and then we got like the eyeball monster and the sheep, which was one of the most disturbing
Ah.
couple of moments of television
Yeah.
I've seen in a while.
Yes.
And now there's like the creepiest fucking sheep in the world is just there staring at them.
Standing
And
on 2 legs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, and like there's so many subtle like little things in this show where like, the show will keep panning back to Kirsch, Timothy Oliphant's character, and he's just there staring. And I'm like,
Yep.
how much does he know? Does he know that Morrow is talking to Slightly? Because every time they would do a scene, every
Mhm.
time they would do a scene where Morrow's talking to Slightly, they would cut back to Kirsch just standing there like,
Yeah, he's learning from what Morrow knows about these things. That's exactly what's going on here. That's why he's allowing it to happen. He 100%
Yeah.
knows and is listening in.
so
Yeah.
and that ties
But-
back to, of course, Ash in the original, and the
David.
android is allowing this all to happen because it benefits the corporation. I really I enjoy, like, well, last week our big thing was that we said we loved how they're differentiating the Lost Boy characters. I thought they did a great job extending that today with Nibs going fucking crazy and Smee deciding he wanted a real scientist name, and he's like he wants to continue being like Kirsch's assistant. The one that wanted to be the favorite is kind of already being like pushed aside.
Yeah.
Go push some knobs and buttons over there.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And also,
No,
Pete, you did one of your like Pete on the Street videos for the channel, and
Right.
you asked like, what are these like hybrid kids? And they
Right.
basically answered your question. Like they are dead, and they are just downloaded like
Copies.
copies and memories into a synthetic body.
Yeah.
And you know, I thought that was so creepy, that opening scene where they just turn off Wendy's hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like that's like the next step of human evolution, is the corporation can turn off your senses so that you can just be reprogrammed for them.
And
That's
how they did the audio there was fantastic too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? People compare this show to Andor, and I understand why. It's because you're like sort of elaborating on things, you're going deeper on things. You're not necessarily having the exact kind of structure that you expect from this type of show or this series, right? But here's the thing, right? Like at one point, I'm watching this show, and I told you how I was kind of like my mental state at that point, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, this is a fucking alien show? Like I was kind of like, oh yeah, sorry, there's a xenomorph in that lung over there, right? And so it's interesting to me because this is not the only kind of legacy sequel thing like this at this point, where you're just going in these different directions and like having a different focus than what people are expecting. I think there's been some Star Wars shows and things where it kind of feels not like Star Wars. It's starting to kind of become its own thing somewhere else. Like Andor is the biggest example of that. But for this show, like to me, there's just so much to unpack, and you could take the xenomorph out of it completely, and it would still be like a super interesting show, just based on the hybrids, the corporations. But I think that just in general, with Alien, unlike Star Wars, because like Star Wars, you can always have space battles, right? You can always have Jedi, but there's like multiple things that they can focus on. They can focus on criminals. They can focus on like the rebellion. They could, there's all different things. With Alien, it's always kind of like, well, we do have to get back to the part where the face hugger goes on a person's face, chest burster pops out, an alien comes and kills everybody. No matter what, that's in every single Alien thing. There's no like variation on that. And so, given that sort of limited range of what they can do, I think the show is kind of freaking ridiculous that they can like, have these sort of like cerebral episodes. But I want to segue, and I want to hear what you guys thought. Let's talk more about that goat and the fucking eyeball. Like, Brian, did you see Peacemaker, the most recent episode this week?
I've only seen the first episode so far.
All right, well, Brian, I guess I have to make that point then. Okay, so never mind.
Hey, look, if you guys want to talk about Peacemaker, you should start your own channel about comic books that get transformed into TV shows.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Well, I mean, I would have a really excellent point right now, but my partner is not up to date. You guys gotta stop seeing fucking concerts. No, I'll tell you next time.
Okay.
Let's just talk about the sheep and the fucking eyeball just getting pulled out. It's so disgusting, so upsetting.
Very upsetting. But to me, honestly, the scariest part was the standing on two legs thing, and then you just seeing the view from the sheep staring at Kirsch was like, oh shit. And then I'm hoping there's some foreshadowing here that particular eyeball creature is going to eat Boy Cavalier or something.
Mm-hmm.
What he was saying, he was saying me, like whatever he was trying to communicate with it. I'm hoping that's like a sign that's like, okay, this thing is going to be what ends him.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive it's going to go into his face and it's going to control him. Because I think the implication is that this thing might be smarter than humans. Like it's super advanced,
And that's
what do you think,
that's a great fucking paradox. Like not paradox, opposite there. Like he thinks he's the smartest thing in the world, and this thing's gonna come over and control him and be smarter than him. That's great.
Yeah. This little cartoonish eyeball. What do you think, Mr. Torkel?
I mean, we met the eyeball creature like coming out of a cat, and now it's like the way that like the sheep backs away in like terror, and then the noises it's making. Brian, you mentioned the sound at the beginning of the episode when Wendy's on the table. The sound design in this episode, in this show overall, is so good. Like they have such great like the score throughout is really good. The way they do Wendy's interpretation of the alien sound, I thought was fantastic. And just man, I'm like laying in bed. It's like 12:30 in the morning, and that sheep is making those distressing noises, and I'm just like, and like my cat is laying on me, and I'm like, oh, come on, and and then like once it takes over the sheep, it like becomes this terrifying thing of like it's just standing there now.
Yeah.
And like, and I know, Brian, you said the two legs. I thought once it just settled down and just stared at them, unblinking, it was, and like you, then you get like its view, like almost
Right.
predator vision from the eyeball sheep monster. And I'm like, yeah. And like that's
Yeah.
so like for me, like I can deal with all the world building. I can deal with 70 minutes of world building if the only two like monster moments that we got in this whole episode are that scene and the scene at the end, because I'm like, this is just, I it's setting me. I feel like every week I'm like so excited when the episode ends to watch the next episode, and then it occurs to me, shit, this is not like on Netflix. I can't just press next episode. Okay,
Right.
so
But then you can sit and talk with your friends and fantasy book and stuff like that. That's the fun of this kind of stuff, you know?
so I know, Brian, last week you said you don't get to see the coming up next week on Alien Earth, right?
Nope,
Do you?
not on Hulu.
Do you,
Same
Pete?
here. No.
So I DVR it off FX, and so I think next week's episode is, according to what they show in the like on the next Alien Earth.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna show what happens on Morrow's ship that causes the crash.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
So
I'm
we're
down for that.
yeah, because like you see all those characters that we met in that very first scene in like what looks like the Nostromo, and then it's like all hell's breaking loose, and you're like, oh yeah, here we go. So
Yeah. Because like
I
what do you call, who's the actor that was in Fargo that played the devil in Constantine? Was that Peter Stormare? Is that his name?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't
Star
he like the
Murray,
engine?
yeah.
Wasn't he like the engineer on the ship in the first episode?
I don't think
I've
so.
never seen him.
No. Okay, it's just a guy kind of like looks like him. I mean, he didn't have any kind of accent or anything like that. But yeah, they focused way too much on that crew, on that weird synth, for them to not elaborate on what happened there, you know. But I wanted to talk about Morrow. I think that's a good way to segue into Morrow. You know, we're talking about the way that Noah Hawley films things, and just the way the show kind of unfolds. You know, in Noah Hawley shows, you'll do this thing where you'll fade out on a character's face and you'll fade in on a character's face, and it kind of goes back and forth. Usually, like in a movie, you might get like one fade out, and that's the transition from a scene to another scene. But in this, they'll fade out from a character, they'll fade back in. It's this very kind of dreamlike feeling when you're watching this, and to combine it with a sort of like a murderous cyborg on a mission, it's so funny because it's like the way that he's interacting with Slightly is dreamlike in itself, because he's basically a voice in his head. He's like almost like a Jiminy Cricket or something. Like he's like talking to him, telling him what to do. But then he's also like holding his mother hostage. You know, it's like like you're in this kind of dream state where it goes back and forth between them talking. It like fades in on one, fades in on the other. You have both their faces in the shot at the same time. And then that was my favorite part of the whole episode. Not the sheep, but I loved when Morrow was talking to Slightly. They have this kind of bond. Slightly is feeling safe, but he's kind of pulling away. He doesn't want to help out Morrow. And then the camera pans from Morrow talking to him to Slightly's mom. And it's like, oh, okay, he's at their house and he's gonna like kill the mom if this kid doesn't help him out. I fucking love that. I ate that.
And
Oh,
that
man.
that also opens up a whole new Pandora's box of like now slightly Arush's mom knows that her dead
He's alive.
son is alive in some way, and that triggers him to go back and get angry at Wendy because her brother's allowed to be there. And so that like one moment like creates like a whole kind of domino effect of other things that could possibly happen.
And
Right.
yeah, and then also you can't leave off the fact that he's zoning in on Joe as his human target to sneak this alien out.
Well, that was
Yeah.
my first thing when Morrow was like, just bring a human in there. I was like, in my head, I'm going, okay, who are the actual humans in the cast? And obviously it's the brother, I guess the married couple who are like the doctors, programmers, and then it's Boy Cavalier. And then like my next thought was, what if like later on in the season, like slightly has like a Nibs moment and grabs Boy Cavalier and holds him over the egg. So like I think we are all on an agreement that somewhere down the line something absolutely terrible is going to happen to Boy Cavalier, whether it's an eyeball monster taking over his body or a xenomorph bursting out of him. He's just, Brian made it very clear from like the first episode how much of like a despicable character this is. And like you only write a character this despicable if you're planning on doing something really despicable to that character later on.
Oh yeah, it's like lobbing a softball because it's like, oh, here's this trillionaire who is an asshole, and now we're gonna slaughter him. Like, yep, that's what the public wants. We're
It's
down
like a
for
jock. It's like the jock in a slasher movie. You're just, he's gonna get the worst death of everybody.
Right, exactly. No, I mean, I think it's really interesting that you're saying that like they're targeting the brother and they're kind of building up that tension. Like there's another person on the island who I'm not sure if they're a synth or a person. Like there's that British bald guy that's like the advisor to Boy Cavalier. And there's at one part where Boy Cavalier's like bouncing a ball and the guy catches it real quick. And I was like, oh, is he an android?
That's a really good question.
You guys are the Star Wars fans more than I am. He reminds me of
Lobot.
Yes, that's exactly. Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
That's who he reminds me.
That's a really great question. I do remember that scene where he catches the ball like that, and I didn't really think too much of it. But he does seem to be, if anything, maybe he's a cyborg. I don't think he's a full synth.
Okay.
Because he seems to be extremely manipulative. And not that cyborgs, not that the synths can't be, but he seems to be using emotion. Like that conversation he has with Joe about like, hey, like, you can go and, we'll send you a bill, or you can stay here and do whatever we tell you to do. Like the way he's using his emotions and his words there in a way that I don't think a synth could. So I think he's either human or a cyborg, but that's a really good thought though.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, man. He probably is a cyborg, and maybe we'll even have like a little showdown between him and Morrow at one point. I mean, I think Morrow is getting to the island by the end of the show, and Morrow could even still get a face hugger on him too, because he's not a synth either. But I actually really love that scene that you just mentioned, Brian, too, where he's talking to Joe and he's saying like, okay, well, you can leave your sister, but technically we own that lung, and that's such a like Philip K. Dick, William Gibson kind of future thing, like a sort of like cyberpunk sort of dystopian future where it's like, oh no, this corporation owns your lung.
We own your sister. Like that. There's no scenario where she goes quote unquote home. Like that was terrifying.
Wasn't there a movie? Wasn't there a movie with Jude Law called Repo about like in the future, like repossessing organs?
Yeah.
And they did Repo the Genetic Opera was like a horror musical about like a repo man who like repossesses body parts.
Oh.
Yeah. Had fucking Giles from Buffy in it.
Right? It was Anthony Stewart Head. Yes.
Right. No, I mean it's definitely like this crazy idea of like corporations can literally own your body, and I don't think that it's too far of a stretch from where we are now. But I mean, I'm just trying to think what else to pick at from this episode. I
So-
guess we could talk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to point out too. I want to say in terms of who I think is going to get used as this egg person, it's going to be one of those two soldiers with Joe, and that's not going to be Joe. I feel like it's somebody established, but it's somebody that doesn't necessarily matter so much that you're not going to expect. Something's going to go wrong there. I feel like it's going to be one of them that's going to get face hugged.
See, okay, let me ask you. I want to follow that question up with another question. If the face hugger impregnates someone, are they going to impregnate someone with an alien queen?
I don't know how that works, but like Danny said before, how they added that detail of like, the eggs only open up when there's a biological entity around. I feel like maybe they can answer that question better now.
Yeah, I mean, they have multiple eggs there, right? There's like 4 eggs.
It's 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like they probably won't have a queen because I mean, she's just so like such an elaborate creature, so big. It's like how are you gonna get her onto a show and keep the budget kind of, not skyrocket the budget or whatever. But I mean, I think that all of those eggs are going to open up, and I think that the first person that's going to get it is probably going to be the woman that's been taking care of Wendy, because I think that like the first time that the chest burster is going to come out, it's going to be like very upsetting versus like just kind of like, oh, we're just going through the routine. I think it's going to be like really upsetting when it comes out. What do you think, Danny?
I don't know. I was kind of leaning towards that woman's husband because he seems to like he was obviously dragging her to a space on the island where he knows there's no cameras because he's like already really concerned about like the science that they're doing. Like he seems to actually have a conscience and like a set of morals that he feels are being his morals are being challenged, and his like scientific everything that he stands for, he kind of feels they're going against now. His wife seems to be more of like, look, we have to take care of these kids, and I feel like he's a character that runs a risk of like, being like the moral high ground, like could get him into trouble, and he's my leading candidate. Although I will say, to Brian's point, I did think it was a little odd that they just randomly kind of shoehorned those 2 military people back onto the show after we hadn't seen them for like an episode and a half. And I'm like, oh, now it kind of feels like they're building a future body count.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you go, Brian.
I also agree with that. I think the husband scientist guy is a more likely candidate. You mentioned before about how you see the asshole jock and you're excited to see them killed. I feel like that's another type of kill, is like the kind of moral objector that you feel bad for them when they get killed. So I feel like that's 100% being set up there for some tragic death there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make one of my videos, my Pete on the Street videos, as Danny says. I think not this one I'm going to do today, but like another day, I'm going to ask like, which chest burster scene affects you the most, or like which character's death because of a chest burster seems to affect you in the whole Alien franchise. And I always kind of think of the Billy Crudup one in Alien Covenant because it's such a bizarre scene. He kind of like willingly like walks over to the egg, gets the facehugger on his face. It like pops out like immediately. And then there's that weird scene where Michael Fassbender's David is like going like this with his hands, and then the alien is going like this with its hands. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a puppeteer.
Right. So I'm gonna do a video like that, but I think that if it's the husband, if it's the wife, that will be much more disturbing than if it's like a military grunt. Like when those 2 grunts got killed by that other alien that makes like your blood fucking pop out of your body, that was disturbing. But I think it's more upsetting when it's like someone that is kind of, they don't have that military, that ability to protect themselves. Like a grunt dying is sad, but like a civilian dying is sort of more upsetting. But that sounds bad. But I was going to say, I think that we should not like overlook the Peter Pan metaphor too, because it's like so prevalent in this show. And I think that like the wife, she's almost like that fucking dog in Peter Pan, like the dog that like helps Nana, right? So like I could see her getting taken out by a facehugger because of that. But my weird observation there, I'm going to toss another question at you two fine gentlemen. If we're going with this Peter Pan metaphor, does that make Boy Cavalier Captain Hook? And then like is the xenomorph the fucking crocodile then?
Well, I mean, he says that. He says like, "Oh, you talk to the crocodile." He says to Wendy, "You talk to the crocodile." So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, and, yeah, and then Tinkerbell too. We got to get that in there somewhere. Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So, man, is he Captain Hook? I guess.
I would think he sees himself as Peter Pan, but he's in reality he's Captain Hook. You know, it's like one of those things where he's like the deluded, trillionaire who thinks he's the hero of the story, but he's really the villain. So it's probably something to that, where. But I do like the crocodile, Captain Hook analogy.
Well, I feel like that's the way it's going to play out, is that he's going to die in some kind of over-the-top way, and he's probably going to be the last death out of everybody before, like, everyone's safe.
He's going to be the Carter Burke of this season.
Yes, yes. But here's the thing, right? How the fuck can this show end? It basically has to end with, like, that island being nuked, like, utterly, right?
I envision a Jurassic Park-like ending where it's just they escape and that shit's just left there to flourish. And then we'll see a fucking little alien sperm like swimming in the ocean or something.
Yes, alien sperm. What a perfect way to end my dream.
And then the next alien world or whatever.
So
yes.
That's a really interesting question though, Pete, because one of your Pete on the Street videos was about canon for this entire franchise. And if this show is canon with the first two Alien movies, then and those two Alien movies take place after this show, nobody obviously they know what the xenomorph is because Ash is like told by Mother to bring it home, and then years later on, they LV-426 is populated, and but so I don't know if they can have like the aliens. I don't think they can have the aliens like overtake Earth, because that doesn't seem like it correlates to those first two Alien movies. So I'm thinking maybe that like if this show doesn't have a season 2, that it ends with maybe them like launching all of these specimens back out on a ship, like back into space or something. And maybe the alien crashes on LV-426. Maybe they redo the what do they call that first engineer? The space jockey? Maybe they maybe they redo the space jockey moment and they have it like land on LV-426 and kind of set up for the first Alien movie in a way.
That's an ambitious.
Or did Romulus do that? Didn't Romulus do it? You see that? Like, I have to rewatch Alien Romulus now.
No. Here's the thing, right? Is that you really can't have like a human-based origin for this because it's on a fucking ship on LV-426. It's on one of those engineer ships where it's like a horseshoe. Mm-hmm. That's where the space jockey's like plugged in. So like, I mean, unless they fucking bring engineers into the end of this show, I don't think anything's going off the planet. I agree with your point, Danny, of like, you can't have the aliens running amok because like, why would they be so desperate to get them then in Alien and Aliens? But I think that like this show proves that like Weyland-Yutani has known about the xenomorph prior to Ripley, right? Like, I think when you watch the first movie, go ahead, Brian. I see your hand moving like you're gonna make a point. Go ahead.
Is it Weyland-Yutani or is it just Yutani at this point?
It's Weyland-Yutani, isn't it? I think the woman is Yutani, but I think the company's called Weyland-Yutani.
But even when Joe's explaining the 5 corporations, he says Yutani. like singular, not Weyland-Yutani. Like, is that not, has that not happened yet? And this is 2 years before the Nostromo, right?
Okay, well, if it's 2 years before the Nostromo, still Alien. I mean, Prometheus is before that. You know what I'm saying? And
doesn't count
wait,
anymore.
Prometheus doesn't count anymore. Okay, well, all right. Let's try to answer your question with another question I was going to ask too. Like, do you think that they're working together, like the people at Disney? Like, do you think that they're like making a fucking alien universe? The fact that we got Android in the new Predator movie, Badlands, it's coming out. We just had Romulus. Now we have this show. Do you think that there's a team like they have with Star Wars, where there's like a story team and they're making sure the details kind of sync up? Because like with Romulus, I don't know if you guys remember, but the reason why there's a fucking alien in that movie is because they find the fucking alien from the first movie with Sigourney Weaver floating in space and like, dissect that.
It's true. That's a great question. I don't think
Like, is that canon? Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think that probably is, especially considering how close it was to this. But I don't know. Maybe they're just overwriting shit. Like, like with Andor, they said that Tony Gilroy said like somebody wrote an origin for K2SO. He's like, I don't like that, so I'm gonna do this instead. So it's canon, but they're gonna like retcon some shit, or like Peacemaker with the Justice League, Justice Gang. They just kind of said, okay, that doesn't work, so we gotta just kind of do this.
I don't know. It's hard to say, Brian, because like when we're talking about these things, like Alien Romulus is like a, I don't know, $200 million movie, right? Like to override something that was like that recent, I think that's pretty bold. Like the K2SO origin thing that you're talking about, that was just a comic, right? That probably like fucking 10,000 people read.
Book, actually, yeah, but
oh yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like it is still a shared universe. And I think it is currently Weyland-Yutani in the show. And I do think that just everyone's gonna get fucking annihilated. Maybe some people might escape and be alive, but they're not gonna be connected to a corporation. They're just gonna be like off the grid on Earth, I mean, I would not be surprised if everyone died. Good. Sorry.
We also don't know the geography of this Earth, this future Earth, where like how far is Neverland from the rest of society? Like maybe they drop a nuke on Neverland and maybe that just wipes out the problem on that part of Earth. Maybe this is just a small island in the middle of the Pacific and boom, we exterminate, as Ripley says at the end, in Aliens, take off and, blast it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure, So maybe they do something like that where it's like Neverland gets destroyed and maybe like at the end of this episode, at the end of the season, like Morrow delivers all the species to Yutani and it's like, okay, Yutani becomes the corporation for the next, 1,000 years. And that's what leads us into the aliens that we know,
Maybe. I don't know. You guys are driving me a little nuts with the Yutani just thing, not Weyland-Yutani. I'm pretty sure they still call it Weyland-Yutani on the show. We have to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading here that FX is like pretty positive on this show, and it sounds as there's a quote here saying that they're not going to let Noah Hawley go back to Fargo season 6 until he does at least 2 seasons of Alien Earth. So
oh shit,
I feel like the thought of every one of these characters and this whole situation getting nuked is not on the table. I also like the idea of shooting it back into space and connecting it to the other movies, but the show is called Alien Earth, and I don't think we're going to get a lasting thing somewhere in space.
I mean, unless they change the name for the next season, because like Danny, one of the shows that we cover is Interview with the Vampire. That's one of our most popular series that we cover, and I'm pretty sure they changed the name of the show to The Vampire Lestat for this next season.
Look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was the name of the first book, but that's the name of the series.
Right. Good point. I don't know. That's interesting that there's the idea of there being multiple seasons, and it's kind of like, well, where do you go? I mean, do you stretch this out more then? Do you have like, is this season just essentially building up to like a almost like Jurassic Park scenario where things are like running amok next season and maybe they bring in more Marines or something? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, go ahead, go ahead.
I just feel like whenever you're doing a show like this, and I feel like this is like the universal problem when you're making a show that is a legacy prequel to an existing universe that has been, around since 1979. And you're always going to run into these timeline continuity issues.
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of on us. We're the nerds, we're the geeks watching it who are like, oh my God, where does this fit in with all these other movies and all these comics and all these books? And meanwhile, they're just like, all right, well, the audience seems to like it. Let's just churn out another season. Let's make more money. So, like, I think we should just kind of judge it as like Noah Hawley is great at fucking TV.
Yep.
He's great at science fiction. The show's been really freaking good so far. And I think we should just enjoy it and talk about the episodes more going forward than like worrying about because like I really enjoyed last night's episode, and like the last 10 minutes of our conversation, I'm like, shit, what
am I talking about?
I feel like I feel like I'm
All
Charlie
right.
Day. I'm Charlie Day in that meme with all the pins on the map, and I'm like,
Yes. All right. Well, we get to take a step back from complicated alien lore and talk about something else I wanted to bring up this recording. And I also want you guys to throw in your other points about this episode too. But Sherry revealed to me last night that the Wendy in the show, the main character, she's actually Kyle Chandler's daughter. And I didn't know that. Like, her name's Sydney Chandler. And yeah, and so I didn't know that until Sherry told me. And like, I think she's great. I'm going to say this in my video I'm going to record after this, which is that, like, I don't necessarily have a problem with Nepo babies when it comes to acting or filmmaking and things like that. Because I feel like as a parent, you just, like, pass on your craft to your kid. And a lot of times they see what you're doing and they get excited, Like, I wouldn't necessarily want my kids to go into education because I want them to, actually have money in their lives. But, if they were interested, I would show them how to get into education. I probably would help them get a job too. So I think, I guess I'm just kind of bringing that up of like, I didn't know that she was Kyle Chandler's daughter. I think she's great. Like, it's not a sign of like, oh, well, they just let her have this job because she's related to Kyle Chandler. I think she's great as herself. What do you guys think?
Well, you found that out. You found that she was Kyle Chandler's daughter last night, Friday night.
Yes.
Did you find that out under the Friday Night Lights?
Brother, I actually was at a football game.
You were at a football game last night.
Yeah, exactly.
I was at a baseball game.
Yeah,
I was at a baseball game.
No, but I was actually at a football game in Texas, last night. That is where I found out about this, was at the football game.
So you were under the Friday Night Lights. There you go.
Exactly. But I mean, like, I think the only person who's like recognizable who stands out on the show is Timothy Olyphant, right? Like, otherwise, and then there's the woman from Babadook too. Right. But like, what do y'all think of the cast in general, and Wendy in particular?
I think Wendy's a standout. I obviously like Timothy Olyphant too. I don't think he was a bad actor on the show, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I almost prefer when there's not a lot of big names, because sometimes you see a big name in the show and it's like it can take you out of it. When they have these really big myth and world building shows like this, seeing recognizable faces can throw me off sometimes. So because some of their other roles are so memorable, and it's like, oh, wait, that's weird. This is the guy from Justified and Alien. This is weird. He's got white hair now. So I'm like, I don't feel that particularly for him in the show, but other shows like fucking Mandalorian, like all those stupid ass cameos.
Like Jack Black.
Yeah. Bullshit. I hate that.
Yeah.
And I like that I don't really recognize anybody. I mean, they're more character actors, and I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Torkel, what about you?
I agree. I love the cast. I don't think there's a weak link in it. I think they're all doing a fantastic job. And as far as Sydney Chandler, I think she's great. It's actually not even the first time. Well, you brought up Alien Covenant. Isn't like the lead in Alien Covenant Sam Waterston's daughter?
Oh Jesus, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like, but I feel like Nepo baby it's a term that is exclusive for the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Um, but it exists in every business and every
Right.
industry. Okay, like a CEO will get their like kid, like like Jerry Jones. We're talking about football in Texas. Like Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, his kids are like the executives under him. Nobody like and that exists with like all the billionaires in the world have their
Right.
kids like in their company in a high ranking position. You know, look at you know, uh, didn't Donald Trump's son-in-law have like a role in the government like during his first term? Like,
Oh yeah, Jared Kushner.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
nepo brother, a nepo son-in-law, and it's
Right.
like like George W. Bush was the son of a president. Like we've had
Right.
presidents whose fathers were presidents before.
Right.
So but like in the entertainment industry, we decided that that's like a bad thing and that we should always criticize it. Meanwhile, some of the best actors around right now in stuff that we love, like you guys cover The Boys. Jack Quaid is fucking awesome.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Yeah.
My number one horror movie of 2024 was The Substance. Margaret Qualley is fucking awesome. And yeah, their parents happen to be actors.
Wait, who's her parents?
Margaret Qualley, her mom's Andy McDowell.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Now that you know that, you're gonna be like, holy shit, she looks a lot like her mom.
Yeah, I'm already thinking it. Yeah, I think the whole nepo argument is just really it's only a problem when they're bad actors.
Correct.
Or bad singers. Like if like I always think of Sofia Coppola in Godfather 3, that poor girl who like got I think the story was oh god. Who played Lydia in Beetlejuice? Winona Ryder. Whoa.
Yeah.
I think the story was like Winona Ryder was cast in Godfather 3 and had to drop out and that Francis Ford Coppola just gave the role to his daughter at the last minute. And she's like notoriously bad in that movie. But I feel bad for her because like it wasn't her fault. Her freaking dad cast her and she's a great director. But
yeah. Right. I was gonna say she's gone on to become an amazing filmmaker. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's like when the acting is not good, that's when it's like it really stands out, right? But when the acting is great, you're like, okay, yeah, they're following their parents' footsteps. Maybe they've even surpassed their parents sometimes. To me, though, on this show, to bring it back to Alien Earth, like the guy that plays Morrow, I think that's the fucking standout on this show. That guy is just fantastic. His delivery, I just my favorite part were those scenes where it's just him and Slightly just talking back and forth this episode.
I loved how their first interaction, he's like talking to him like a child and he's like, don't you want to be my friend? If somebody steals from me, don't I have the right to take back my property? So you're not and he's like manipulating him, but in like a nice the way like you would like tell the way we would tell our kids to like do their chores, like don't you love your mommy and daddy?
I'm gonna kill you or kill your parents.
Yeah, well no, because then like he flips that almost immediately. Like once he realizes that didn't work, he's like, okay, well now I have your mom here, so so put a human's face over the egg, all right?
Right. Oh man, yeah, and then that might be my final point. You guys can bring up other points too, but like I think I also forget how good the Lost Boy actors are, because I just sort of think of them as kids, and then I take a second. I'm like, wait a minute, that's like a 20-something-year-old man acting like a 10-year-old boy, and he's doing it like convincingly. I think all of the Lost Boy actors are great.
Yeah, I in the episode where it was Slightly and Smee and they were around the eggs, they were like, dude, bro, like that was a little weird, but they're. Everything else has worked for me, really.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified for their fates.
Right.
Because it's like these kids already died once, and now they may die again.
They probably will. We're definitely going to lose some of them, I think. It's funny because like what can happen to them is not necessarily as horrific as what can happen to human people, right? Like the alien creatures can do all kinds of weird things to their bodies. What'll essentially just happen to them is that they'll just get like kind of mutilated, ripped apart, and they'll just be white, milky
Yeah, but they
substance
can
all
also
over the
just
place.
be turned off on a whim, you know? Like that's also fucking terrifying, you know? Like I
That
feel
is
like that's
true.
what's gonna happen with Nibs. She's gonna get turned off because she's
Oh,
fucking crazy.
yes. Yeah, it does kind of bother me that she looks like a grown-up version of my own daughter, too.
I
That
was
kind of
thinking
freaks
that
me
during that scene, like, oh god, this must be even worse for Pete.
I
right.
there's also the weird thing that like she thinks that she's pregnant on a show that has eggs that impregnate you
Yeah.
and things burst out of you. So there's that aspect to that. Uh, we're like 50 minutes in. Is nobody going to talk about the alien snake?
No, go ahead, man. Go nuts.
Alien
I,
snake?
I just, I thought that was going to be like a major thing because like we always talk about how there's all these like different species of the alien, and now we get like it looks like it has the xenomorph head, but it's like a snake body, and it like moves almost like a cobra.
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought that was so cool, and I'm like wondering now. It's like that's the little thing that they pull out of the chest bursters, and that's what they put in the lung. So it's like if is that a specific species of, are like each of these eggs going to be a different kind of xenomorph?
I think that's just a protoform, and really that's gonna look like a standard alien.
You think it's gonna?
My
Okay.
thought was that they're actually gonna make a sort of good alien that's almost like a dog to Wendy, you know? Like that was the vibe I got off of this, is that she's gonna
Oh
be
my
able to
God.
control that alien in a way. And it's almost gonna be like a pet, but not like in a cutesy
Wow.
way, I guess. But
I mean,
not
it
even
was
think about
kind of
that for a
cute when
second.
she like reaches out and like pets its head.
Yeah. It's kind of cute, but then it also looks like a giant cock too.
yeah,
Oh, that might be a good sign to wrap up this discussion, gentlemen. Brian, what are we doing on our channel at all? You know?
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. What?
That's it. Peacemaker, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, we're gonna start next Thursday, right?
Yes, next Thursday will be that'll be good.
3 episodes for us, yeah, or 2 at least.
Two probably, because it airs Thursday night, right?
It does air Thursday night. So listen up, you sexy viewers that are watching us and you made it all the way to the end. Check out Comic Books Transform because you get me and Brian over there. But while you're here, subscribe to this channel because then you have Danny over there. And what do we got on this channel, Danny?
Well, we got Pete on the street.
Please use that name, honestly.
I told him
All
that
right,
before.
all right.
It's
Okay.
canon. It's canon now. Yeah, Pete has his Pete on the street videos where he walks around and asks important questions about Alien Earth and just random genre things, and we've been getting some good responses. Obviously we're covering Alien Earth. I just watched a couple like pretty decent horror movies. So I'll have some shorts coming up probably by the end of Labor Day weekend. But yeah, have a great Labor Day weekend, guys. Brian, I'll see you again probably tomorrow.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much and have fun playing with